Hey there, welcome to FFBC for Kids. This is our Back to Sunday School series. Let's get started.
And now, a story from the Old Testament. There once was a woman named Naomi.
Why, hello there.
Naomi was an Israelite married to Elimelech. Elimelech. Anyway, they had two sons, Mahlon and Kilion. The whole family moved to the land of Moab, and Mahlon and Kilion married two Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth. But one by one, Elimelech, Mahlon, and Kilion died and left Naomi with no one to care for her. So she decided to return to Israel and said to Orpah and Ruth,
You should both stay here, and may the Lord bless you with another husband from among your own people.
Orpah left Naomi, but Ruth wouldn't leave. She said to Naomi,
Do not tell me to leave you or to return to my people, for where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God.
So Naomi and Ruth journeyed to Israel right at the time of the barley harvest. Naomi sent Ruth to the fields of a man named Boaz, one of Elimelech's relatives, to go behind the harvesters and collect what was left behind so that they could have some food to eat. When Boaz saw her, he said to Ruth,
Duh!
Hey Boaz, smarten up. I know she's pretty, but oi, wipe that drool off your chin.
Right. So, Ruth, I was thinking, you should only collect wheat in my fields. I promise that my harvesters will protect you and make sure you have enough. You can drink water from my well and come share lunch with me.
Oh, thank you. Whatever have I done to find favor in your eyes like this?
I have heard of all you have done for Naomi, how you abandoned your home to serve her and serve God. May God bless you for your faith.
So Ruth collected from the field that whole day and came home with more than enough grain for her and Naomi. So Naomi, seeing the kindness of Boaz, her relative, came up with a plan. One night, when Boaz had gone to sleep on the floor of the threshing room, Ruth snuck in and uncovered Boaz's feet and laid down below him. When Boaz woke up and saw Ruth, she said,
It is I, Ruth. Spread the corner of your covering over me, for you are my family redeemer.
Redeemer, a close family member who, according to Jewish law, could purchase the land and possessions of a dead brother or relative. They also had the responsibility to marry that man's widow if he had one and have children with her in order to preserve the dead man's family line.
May God bless you. I will do my best to be your redeemer, but there is one man who was a closer relative of Elimelech who has priority. I will have to make a deal with him.
So Boaz gave Ruth a gift of more barley and sent her back to Naomi. In the morning he went to the gates of the city, where all the business of the town happened, and met with the other relative of Elimelech. Boaz said to him,
Come and sit with me. Naomi, the widow of Elimelech, is selling her land, and you are the first in line to redeem it. Give me an answer today, because if you won't redeem it, I will.
I will redeem it.
As a condition of redeeming the land, you must marry Ruth, the Moabite, so that she may have children to inherit the land on behalf of her dead husband.
I will not redeem it.
So Boaz redeemed or bought the land and married Ruth. They soon had a son named Obed, who grew up and had a son named Jesse, who grew up and had a son named David. He'll be rather important in just a couple of weeks. The end.
Think about it with Pastor Daniel.
The story of Ruth is one of the most hopeful in all of the Bible. Now, mostly that's because it comes right at the end of the book of Judges, which is one of the least hopeful times in all of the Bible. But this story teaches us a few things about how God works and what He does in our lives. The first and most important thing that I want us to remember from the book of Ruth is the idea of a redeemer. Do you remember what the definition of a redeemer was that popped up in the middle of the video? A redeemer in Old Testament times was a close family member who, like if their brother or their cousin died, then they could go and buy the land back from the widow so that she had money, and they would also marry usually the widow so that when they had kids, those kids could inherit their dad's land, the guy who died, so that they would be like his kids and be able to carry on his family name. That all sounds a little confusing. In essence, what it meant to be a redeemer was to buy someone back from a place of slavery or hardship. So like Naomi, she fell into a place of hardship when her husband and her 2 sons died. And Boaz became her redeemer because he bought her back from that place of hardship to a place where she had someone to look after her. So that's the key phrase. A redeemer is someone who buys back. And you and I have a redeemer as well. It's Jesus. Like we talked about a few times in the book of Judges, we're slaves to sin when we choose to sin over and over. And Jesus has redeemed us from that. He bought us back from our slavery. He did that by shedding His blood for us on the cross, right? When He died on the cross for our sins, He paid the price for our sins so that we could be redeemed. And so that's a pretty cool thing that we learn a little bit more about from the book of Ruth, is what a redeemer looks like. And then the second thing that the book of Ruth really shows us is how God is still working even in the midst of hard times. Like we talked about, the end of Judges doesn't end off very well. Israel isn't obeying God. They're fighting against each other. It all looks like a big mess, and it's hard to see, well, where's God at work in the midst of all the stuff going on at the end of the book of Judges? And then the book of Ruth comes in and shows us here's where God's at work. He's bringing in a Moabite woman who's faithful to Him, and through her, He's going to give us eventually King David to rule His people. And in your life and mine, sometimes we're in the middle of hard times where it seems like everything is just chaotic around us and we can't understand how could God be involved in the hard things going on in our life. Well, we can trust that God is still at work and that He's working for the good of those who love Him. That's what Romans 8:28 says. And so we respond how Ruth responded. Did you notice how she could have taken the easy way out and just gone back to her land and gone back to serving her old false gods? But what did she say to Naomi? She said, I will go with you. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I'll stay. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. She put her faith and her trust in the true God, that He would take care of her, even though she wasn't taking the easy way. She was taking the hard way, going to a land she didn't know, where she had no guarantees of a good future. But she trusted God and she lived for Him. That's what you and I can do as well. When we face hard times, well, we trust God and we live for Him, and then we have faith that He'll work out the details for how everything's going to turn out in the end. So this morning, don't forget, God has given you a redeemer. So you're bought back for slavery, and now you can live by faith in God that He's working for good, even in the middle of all the hard things that we go through in this life. And that is the story of the book of Ruth. Thanks for watching FFBC for Kids. Come back next week as we start out in the book of 1 Samuel. We hope to see you then. Bye!